innocent-looking Victorian villa in Lewisham, just like hundreds of others in this South London borough. None of the neighbours knew that its back garden hid a strange story. First inkling that something was amiss came when a next-door neighbour found a note pushed through the fence. It claimed that beneath the garden shed of inventor John Bridle, a girl was held captive in an underground room. The girl, 28-year-old Marjorie Jordan, seen here at Brighton trying to forget it all, alleged in the note that she had been kidnapped by 26-year-old Bridle. Police take the young inventor into his shed to investigate the girl's story. Down this manhole is the room where Marjorie Jordan alleges she was kept against her will for 105 days. It opens onto a shaft which descends 14 feet to the room of whose existence only Bridle and Marjorie knew. Constructed with great ingenuity, it's roughly fitted out as a living room with electric cooking and lighting, table, chairs, radio, and Marjorie Jordan's bed. After inspecting the strange room, police photographed the motorcycle on which Bridle admits he brought Marjorie from her home. But I didn't kidnap her, he declares, as police take him to the station. You can't on a motorcycle. Except for the first days, he said she was there willingly, helping with his inventions. Now the public prosecutor is deciding whether to take any action.
This was the home of Emmanuel Maillard, the 7-year-old schoolboy whose kidnapping and murder has shocked the world. For a week, his parents, relatives, and a priest, Father Alexandre, pleaded with the kidnapper to return the boy. Their pleas went unanswered. Emmanuel was already dead, brutally bludgeoned shortly after leaving school. His body was found in these woods. A house-to-house search of the neighborhood was made. After continuous questioning, a 15-year-old youth confessed to the crime. He took police to the spot where he had buried his victim. The youth admitted that he had killed Emmanuel, a friend of the family, within minutes of meeting him leaving school. The 7-year-old knew and trusted him. The motive was money. Versailles is now a place stunned by the heartache and mourning of a terrible crime.
The latest in a series of cowardly kidnapping crimes strikes Princeton, Florida. From his father's general store, Jimmy Cash, aged 5, was abducted. Federal Bureau of Investigation agents immediately set up headquarters in this building, with Chief G-Man Edgar Hoover personally supervising one of the greatest manhunts in Florida's history. 1,000 citizens, many of them armed, are joined by local legionnaires and CCC boys, forming a posse to track the criminal, who already has been paid $10,000 ransom. From an eastern airliner, we view the Everglades, where Seminole Indians are combing the swamps for clues. This participation by civilians in the government's war on kidnappers indicates America's rising temper against such inhuman crimes.
A brutal kidnap murder that has scarred forever the Greenlees' home in Kansas City. A crime that whisked 6-year-old Bobby Greenlees from this school and by taxi to a plain white frame house in St. Joseph, Missouri, 40 miles away. Where beaten and shot through the head, he was buried in a shallow grave covered with freshly planted flowers. Where under a layer of lime and 3 feet of dirt, he lay dead while the kidnappers collected a $600,000 ransom for his safe return. The kidnappers, Carl Hall and Mrs. Bonnie Brown Heddy. Hall confessed planning the crime, implicated another ex-convict, John Marsh, and said Mrs. Heddy had spirited the boy from school. An American home shrouded in sorrow.
Tony Stevens was home again. To the little house in Wood Street, Earl Shilton, that's a little place near Leicester, a police car brought him back 15 months after he disappeared. Now, shepherded by a policewoman, his mother following, the 12-year-old boy was re-entering the family circle. The long search was over. The terrible anxiety gave way to joy. The little chap himself was over the fence to tell the folks next door all about it. So was his 10-year-old sister, Linda. It didn't look as if it would take long for Tony to settle down again, as if nothing had happened. Outmaster Kevin Tracy, nearest camera, was taken to Hinckley to be charged with kidnapping Tony. It's an incredible story how Tracy and the boy remained undiscovered on the continent for 15 months. 41-year-old Jim Stevens, Tony's father, gave up his job as a milkman and roved Europe in search of his son. Fortunately, Tony's young enough to pick up his home life again without any trouble. It's hard to imagine how relieved the family must be that it's all ended happily.